The 688th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 688 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Going out to Jonathan Krager, one of our friends on YouTube. Ever since I said that we beat off haters, we have not had any haters on YouTube. So I can't dedicate it to any haters. So I'll dedicate it to a fan. Thank you. I'm one of the hater beater offers, handsome Jeff Fox, aka what was my name yesterday? It was a funny name. Gumby laughed at it. Big Body Jeff Fox. That was my name. Big Body Jeff Fox. So welcome to our show. This is part 2 of our UFC Fight Night Moreno versus Albazi breakdown, aka UFC Edmonton. Yesterday, I went dog heavy, and my dogs were barking in the background, as were Gumby's. So it was a dog heavy episode. Today, off air, my co-host promises that he's going to flip the script here, and he's going to go dog heavy. So we shall see. We got the 6 main card fights of UFC Edmonton to break down, and then we got our locks, dogs, props, and Hungry Man Jung superfan parlay. Let's bring in that co-host, the aforementioned co-host, Daniel Gumby Breland. Right now, you like some dogs here, do you?
I do. I think, a couple of them being that I don't really love the line. Some of them I went back and watched, and I'm like, man, do we forget how good this guy is sometimes? And I think I mentioned that on yesterday's show. Like, there are people I'd written off and been like, well, you can't pick them ever again. And then you go back and you watch and you're like, oh, maybe there's a reason to pick them again. So I'm going to pick a couple of them today.
All right, there you go. Yesterday, make sure you listen to yesterday's. Lots of fun, lots of dogs. All 8 fights we broke down. So today, as I said, is the main card. Which starts at, let me see, the prelims are 3 p.m. So 5 p.m. So this one's probably 8, I would guess.
Yeah,
does that sound right?
8 for main card is my guess. Yeah.
All right. And it says it's on ESPN Plus. So I assume it's on Sportsnet up here as well, especially since it's coming to us from Edmonton. Before we go any further, please, let me remind you, if you haven't already, hop over to Spotify, give us 5 stars if you think we earn it. That will help us fight off the corporate gambling beasts, thugs, and keep us in your orifices, orifici. Let's break down this here fight card, starting on the main card, obviously starting with a welterweight fight. Mike Malott from Canada, Trevin Giles from the United States of America. 3 5-minute rounds at welterweight. We can tell you about Giles first. He is the problem. He's 16-6, 6 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted 3 times, so finishing all of his losses. 7-6 in the UFC. He has lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 2 straight. Before that, he lost 2 straight. We tend to run into patterns like that frequently now. Both of his past 2 losses have come via finish. He used to fight at middleweight and light heavyweight. 2014 Pro MMA debut, an inch of reach over Malott. Better striking stats than Malott. He has outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.05 strikes per minute. He's at plus 215. Proper Mike Malott, 10-2-1, 4 knockouts, 6 submissions. So he finished everyone. He's been knocked out twice. 3-1 in the UFC. Lost his last fight via TKO. 1-0 contender series. Used to fight at featherweight and lightweight. A regional champion. 0-0-1 in Bellator. 0-1 in World Series of Fighting. Has missed weight before at featherweight, but we're at lightweight. We're at actually welterweight now. So don't even worry about that. He should be good. 2011 Pro MMA debut, an inch of height over Giles. More active landing strikes. Better grappling stats. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC and contender series by half a strike per minute, minus 250. Hopefully this isn't one of your dogs, Gumby. I'm going proper Mike Malott. I think this is a nice bounce back fight for him. Trevin Giles ain't much at this point in his career. And I guess this really proves if Malott actually does have something or not. If he's not beating Trevin Giles, then he's not doesn't have much of a future here.
Yeah, I think this is a bounce back fight for him. And the biggest piece for me is, and I said this to a bunch of people who have asked me about this fight, about whether or not I think Mike Malott is washed or not. Trevin Giles sticks his head in guillotines for fun. Like sometimes he wrestles and you're like, okay, well, that's good. And sometimes he wrestles and you're like, why is he like, was it the fight with, I want to say Gerald Mearshart, where he was up 2 rounds and then he was like, here's my head, and then lost. If I'm remembering that fight correctly, I think that was the one in New Jersey on the Covington versus Robbie Lawler card. And I was just like, I was sitting cage side and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, why? It's either that or it was on the, no, it had to have been on that one. So, but I was like, are you kidding me? You were winning this fight and you just like pissed it away to a submission like that. And Mike Malott's got subs that work exactly that way. And in addition to that, Mike Malott's hands are dangerous. People forget about that too. So like if Trevin Giles is getting torched on the feet, which I think he's going to be, he's going to shoot that takedown. And when he does, he's going to get choked. So yeah, Mike Malott all day here for me.
All right. We're both in on proper Mike. All right. Let's move on to the next fight. Another Canadian. The last born in Canada Canadian that we're going to cover today. Marc-André Barriault from Canada. Dustin Stoltzfus from the United States of America at middleweight, 3 5-minute rounds. Stoltzfus is 15-6, 2 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 2-5 in the UFC. Win-loss over his last 4. He got knocked out in his last fight. 1-0 contender series. Regional champion. Used to fight at 205. Kickboxer, pro kickboxer. He's got a inch of reach, a year younger than Barriault. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.11 strikes per minute. Better grappling stats than Barriault, plus 170. Power Bar, a funny nickname that we've discussed many times, is 16-8 with 1 no contest, 10 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. 5-7 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he won 2 straight. Got knocked out in his last fight. He's fight at 205. He's failed a drug test for PEDs. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Get sticky with it. 2014 Pro MMA debut, an inch of height over Stoltzfus. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes, and he's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.45 strikes per minute, minus 195. Gumby, is this one of the dog spots?
This is one of the dogs. Dustin Stoltzfus, wildly underrated. So first of all, Marc-André Barriault's losses are to really good opponents. So I'm not going to use those losses as like, corollaries for how Dustin Stoltzfus can get to him, right? Because Dustin Stoltzfus is not Chris Curtis, and he's not Joe Pyfer, and he's not Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. But the fact of the matter is Dustin Stoltzfus, underrated wrestler, underrated pace, underrated, I think a little bit with the hands too. I mean, like if you look at a lot of his losses, really good moments for lots of parts of the fight, and then he gets caught with a big bomb. I don't really trust Marc-André Barriault to be the type of guy who's going to like land that big knockout blow on Dustin Stoltzfus. I think especially as you've seen him struggle with guys who are like, tough grapplers, like, he got taken down like a dozen times by Fluffy Hernandez or something like that. He looks more gun shy when he's throwing because he knows that guy's coming for a takedown and he doesn't want to spend another fight on his back getting arm triangled like he did in that fight. And Stoltzfus, he took down Bruno Ferreira in his last fight. Granted, that was like kind of scrambly and whatnot, but like he took down a guy who, granted, Ferreira gave up more takedowns in the last fight, which I did call, but like he took down a guy who has a judo black belt and who is good at jiu-jitsu. And, then they got back up and he ate one punch and it was over. I just don't trust Barriault to be the guy who's going to put him away. And I love the pace that he puts on him. If you look at the Dwight Grant fight, he's able to keep up that pace late into the fight and win gritty fights. I think that wins him one here against Marc-André Barriault. Give me Stoltzfus as a dog.
Yeah, you didn't sell me. Give me the Canadian Power Bar. Better striker, and he's in his own country.
Everybody at the middleweight division is a better striker than
it's true.
Stoltzfus,
and you know me, I got to take a better striker. So give me Barriault here. Not quite as easy of a bounce back fight as the Malott one is, but I still think he's going to win here. All right, an adopted Canadian, Caio Machado, originally from Brazil. I think he's in Vancouver now. Is that right?
He's in Brazil now.
Oh, he went back. Fine. He didn't like it here. Fine.
He does not currently live in Canada, although he is a Canadian citizen. And if you listen to the Top Turtle MMA podcast this week, you'll hear all about why. All right.
Great. He didn't like it up here. It's kind of rough in Vancouver right now. If that's where he was, it may explain it. Brendson Ribeiro, he's up against from Brazil. And they're at 205, ladies and gentlemen, 3 5-minute rounds. Tell you about Ribeiro first, the Gorilla. He's 15-7 with 1 no contest, 9 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted twice. 0-2 in the UFC. As part of a 2-fight losing streak. Before that, he had won 3 straight, including one on the Contender Series. Regional champion, used to fight at middleweight, 3 inches reach over Machado, 2 years younger. He's one of those guys with the plus 0.0 strike differential. So he's gotten hit as many times as he's hit his opponents in hit the UFC and Contender Series, which is crazy. Better grappling stats than Machado, plus 138. Bigfoot Machado, even at light heavyweight, is he a Bigfoot? I guess your feet don't shrink. He's 8-3-1, 4 knockouts, 2 submissions, never been finished in a fight. He's lost both his UFC fights, just like Ribeiro. This is basically a loser leaves town match, especially you've seen a bunch of people get canned right now because the UFC knows how many people they have signed now from Contender Series, and they're going to anybody on a losing streak is going to get axed because they're making more money than the Contender Series people are going to be making. So losers leaves town match. Before Machado won 7 straight before his 2-fight losing streak. He's fight at heavyweight. Did he always fight at heavyweight until now?
I think so. I tried to look back and find a light heavyweight one, maybe once on the AME or something like that. But no, he's been a heavyweight pretty exclusively. And he was 251. It's not like he was like a small heavyweight.
Gumby vouches he's got a sexy body now. Not quite Brian Battle level, but still, he's a slim 205 now. 1-0 Contender Series, regional champion, an inch of height over Ribeiro, better striking stats, twice more active landing strikes. And he's outstruck his UFC and Contender Series points by 3.34 strikes per minute. That's a crazy number. Minus 155. Give me Machado. He's going to save his job here. I think the drop to light heavyweight is going to be the right move for him because, like we said, he looks like he's in tremendous shape now. He's fought pretty well as I read those stats off for you. He's definitely looked better than Ribeiro has over his UFC career, despite losing both his fights. I think this is a good spot for him. So give me Machado.
I'm gonna go with Ribeiro.
I'm shocked by that. His sexy body and everything. You're going against it.
I think it's not good for him. When you think about what he's good at, he doesn't put a big pace on anybody on the feet. Yeah. He doesn't outstrike you. He's not faster than you. He was slower than a lot of heavyweights, right? Like, was it Mick Parkin in his debut that Mick Parkin was faster than him? And I don't think of Mick Parkin as being like a fast, quick twitch heavyweight, right? And so, like, he's already slower than heavyweights. And, like, he's dropping down in weight class, which is where, like, he needs to go bully people, except for now his, like, body doesn't look like it's ready to bully people anymore. He's got a massive speed disadvantage against Ribeiro. He's got a massive power disadvantage. He's got a massive aggressive disadvantage. And he's got, I don't know, did I already mention reach? Like, he's got less reach despite being the big heavyweight coming down. He's going to be the shorter guy. And, you know, if you watch Ribeiro's fight on Contender Series, and granted, he hasn't looked great in the UFC, but some of that is fighting Gaziadzalev, right, who was looked decent in his debut. And then, you know, I'll remember regularly that you took Ribeiro over Zhang Ming Yang. And I will, you know, tout that one.
He's looked good since then, that's for sure.
Yeah, Zhang Ming Yang's good. But, like, so, like, he's lost to good dudes, too. You know, the 0-2 looks sad, but, like, the 0-2 is against, like, high-quality dudes. And he, like, threw with Zhang Ming Yang, which is, to his credit, is a tough thing to do. Throwing with Machado is not as hard to do because Machado just doesn't pack that same kind of punch, right? He might TKO you in a ground and pound situation, or he might hit a, you know, Americana from top control, but, like, he's not out there to slug with you. And moving down in weight class, I tend to think he's going to have a tougher time with those takedowns. So, yeah, I like Ribeiro here. I think the power is too much.
I can't believe you.
And I love Machado. I love Machado. But, like, I just don't see this matchup wise.
All right. We shall see. So you're going against the sexy body. I'm shocked. Anyhow, before we move on with more talk about sexy bodies, I'm going to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Gumby is going heavy on the underdogs because he wants to be like I was last episode, I guess. This is different underdogs. This is Underdog Pick'em we're talking about. Underdog Pick'em is one of the biggest menus for all sports. They got NFL, they got college football, they got MLB. If MLB still exists at this point, it may have ended last night. Gumby and I don't know. We didn't check out the score. MMA, NBA, NASCAR, they got it all. They got Boost Over. Today would be the last day for that because it's today's last day of October. So Boost Over is upon us still, which means you're getting a spooky amount of profit boosts and much more. You can now use specials to boost in all flex entries. Do you have any plays for us, Gumby?
Sure. We'll go to the Memphis Grizzlies are playing on Thursday, which is the day you are listening to this. And I've been rather impressed with Zach Edey.
I was going to say Zach Edey, and you did pick Zach
Edey. So I'm gonna go the higher than on Zach Edey's rebounds. He had a little bit of tough time with Vucevic in his last game, but like he won't have to face Vucevic again, which will make it a little bit easier. Let's take the higher than on Zach Edey's rebounds.
He's got to stay on the court is the main thing with Edey. Don't foul out and get lots of minutes. So sign up for the code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. All right, let's see what other dogs Gumby's going to get in on. All right, we're going to the big boys here. Main card heavyweight bout. Derrick Lewis, United States. Jhonata Diniz from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds. Tell you about the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis. His words, not mine. 28-12 with 1 no contest. 23 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out 7 times, submitted twice. 19-10 in the UFC. Win-loss win over his last 3. 2-4 over his last 6. He did win his last fight via TKO, though. Regional champion. 2010 Pro MMA debut. Based on their last weigh-ins, he was 9 pounds heavier than Diniz. Somehow, despite fighting 29 times in the UFC, his strike differential is at 0. He's been hit as many times as he has hit his opponent. Better grappling stats than Diniz, because yesterday's episode, Gumby argued about that Lewis is a good wrestler. So there you go. There's the proof. Plus 150. Diniz is 8-0 with 7 knockouts, 2-0 in the UFC, 1-0 contender series, 22-7 as a pro kickboxer and a champion there. An inch of height over Lewis, 6 years younger. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.34 strikes per minute. That includes the contender series fight. Minus 170. Is it
Derrick Lewis?
Yes, he's my dog too. A striking battle. Yeah, of course I'm taking Derrick Lewis against an inexperienced MMA fighter in a striking battle.
And I don't even think it needs to be a striking battle. I was talking about his grappling before. Like, dude, Jhonata Deniz's grappling is so bad. Like, what was it? Austin Lane that just like took him down and went to full mount in the first round in that fight. And granted, he battled back, right? Because Austin Lane ran out of gas, which, to his credit, I guess he's better than Ribeiro Despaigne, who's no longer in the UFC. What a flash in the pan that was, by the way, huh? Well, that was a weird time that we'll look back on and be like, people talked about Ribeiro Despaigne like he was like a future champ, and it turned out to be he was really bad. But no, Jhonata Diniz like had a bad time grappling against Austin Lane. He went to full mount. You don't go to bottom full mount against Derrick Lewis and live to tell about it, right? Like if he fell to that position against Derrick Lewis, he's gone. The day's over. And like his only path to victory here is landing the big bomb. And I think he's got to do it early because I don't think he has it late. Like Austin Lane zapped all of his energy in like one grappling exchange early in the round. And then he landed, but he didn't not have the knockout power anymore for Austin Lane. And if he does it then, do you know who still has the knockout power at minute 14 and 55 seconds? Derrick Lewis. Do you know who still has it 24 minutes into a fight? Derrick Lewis. So like, I mean, try him, Jhonata Diniz. Like you have to knock him out in 2 minutes or it's over. I'm going Derrick Lewis.
What are the odds that Derrick Lewis is going to get hit with a body shot and then pretend he's hurt? Those odds
turn around and punch him like Scott. What was that? Scott Smith against Pete Snell.
Those odds are probably in the negative too, because it seems like he always maybe he really does get hurt and he just recovers quickly. But yeah, Derrick Lewis is my pick as well here, which I think I already said off the top. Should be fun. There's a dog. Does Gumby have another dog in the top 2 fights? Let's find out. Let's move right on to the co-main event. Rose Namajunas versus Erin Blanchfield, US versus US at flyweight. Tell you about Thug Rose. 13-6, 2 knockouts, 5 submissions. She's been knocked out once, submitted once. 11-5 in the UFC, a 2-time champion at 115. Now she's up at flyweight. She won 2 straight. Before that, she had lost 2 straight. 3-0 in the Ultimate Fighter, 2-1 in Invicta. 2013 Pro MMA debut. An inch of height over Blanchfield, has outstruck her UFC opponents by 0.32 strikes per minute, plus 116. Blanchfield is cold-blooded. 12-2, 2 knockouts, 4 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 6-1 in the UFC. 9-1 over her last 10. Did lose her last fight in a number 1 contender fight against Manon Fiorot. Or we hope it was the number 1 contender fight at least. A 4-1 in Invicta. A grappling champion. 1 inch of reach over Namajunas, 7 years younger. More active landing strikes, better grappling stats. has outstruck her UFC points by 1.13 strikes per minute, minus 130. Is this me again? Yes, it's me. Give me Blanchfield. I think she can bounce back from this. I think she has the mindset to bounce back from her loss. I don't trust Rose Namajunas, even though, you know, she's looked okay in her past couple of fights. I still don't trust her. You never know what you're going to get with her. And I think you really got to be on top of your game to beat Blanchfield. And she's not the striker that Manon Fiorot was. That was the main thing that was making Blanchfield look so bad was the striking. So give me Blanchfield. I think she's going to bounce back.
I'm going to take Blanchfield too. I am going to say quickly that I do think Namajunas' striking is way better than Erin Blanchfield's.
Yeah.
And that for every moment this is on the feet, I think Namajunas is going to look like the better fighter. I think the difference maker for me here is that, like, I am still not in love with the idea of Rose Namajunas at 125. I think it's a mistake for her to be up there. I think she's at her best when she's 115. And of course, like, if this is her body won't make that weight anymore, like, you know, then it's not a mistake. It's just unfortunate for her because I don't think she's as good as she is down in 115. We've seen it. She's been taken down it's something like 7 times in her last 2 fights, and by people who are not as good grappling as Blanchfield is. Obviously, we have to worry about the fact that Blanchfield is, I'm not going to say one-dimensional, but her dimension is far better in one direction than it is in the other. And so, like, I think Namajunas will be able to just, like, sit on those takedowns a little bit. But also, if she's doing that, it's going to, you know, like, slow down her own striking too. It's going to open up that Blanchfield should be able to move forward. So, you know, I think Erin Blanchfield here is going to be the dominant top grappler. I think you're going to see her winning rounds even late into the fight. Like, if this goes into the championship rounds, I still think Blanchfield will be winning them there because this is a 5-round fight too. So remember that when it comes time to handicap it, folks at home. Like, it's important to know that this could go 25 minutes. I still think Blanchfield can get takedowns late in the fight against Namajunas. So, yeah, give me Erin Blanchfield. I both like her ability to wrestle here, and as you did, sort of question Rose Namajunas' game planning and IQ sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think you can say it could go 25 minutes. I think it will go 25 minutes more than likely, right?
I don't know. I could see Blanchfield getting an arm triangle or something like that. You know, it wouldn't totally surprise me. I mean, I don't think Namajunas is going to knock her out, but I didn't think Namajunas would knock out Joanna Jędrzejczyk or what was it? No, Weili Zhang, right? Like, she knocked out Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I didn't think she'd knock out either of those 2 women either, but she did.
Sometimes these things happen in MMA, maybe.
Yeah. Shout out Gus Johnson.
Shout out Gus Johnson. All right. Main event time already. It is a flyweight bout. It is another 5-minute round bout. Thanks for catching the co-main event. I forgot about that aspect. Brandon Moreno from Mexico versus Amir Albazi from Iraq. As I said, 5-minute rounds, and we're going to tell you about the underdog first. The Prince, Amir Albazi, is 17-1, 5 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's never been finished in a fight. He's 5-0 in the UFC. He's won 6 straight fights. He's not lost since April 2019. He's not fought since June 2023. Used to fight at bantamweight. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. 2-0 in Bellator. 2009 Pro MMA debut. Has been outstruck in the UFC by 0.27 strikes per minute, plus 145. The Assassin, baby. 21-8-2. That would be Moreno. 5 knockouts, 11 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 9-5-2 over 2 stints in the UFC. A 2-time UFC flyweight champion. However, he's lost 2 straight fights and only won 2 of his last 5. 0-1 the Ultimate Fighter. He also has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky. Used to fight at bantamweight. 2011 Pro MMA debut. A professional grappler. 2 inches height, 2 inches of reach over Albazi. More active landing strikes and better grappling stats. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.24 strikes per minute and minus 160 for him. Does he bounce back here, Gumby?
I think so. I'm going to go Brandon Moreno.
Me too.
The big piece for me is that, like, Albazi, you know, he's 5-0 in the UFC, but let's play revisionist history for a second. He didn't beat Kai Kara-France. Kai Kara-France beat him. Yep. And so he's 5-0 in the UFC, but his lone sort of blemish, his lone moment where he looked like maybe he wasn't a world beater / future champion, he fought a guy who was a damn good striker and couldn't grapple him.
Yeah.
Right. Like that was the bottom line in that Kai Kara-France fight, right? Like, he scored 2 takedowns in that whole fight in like 3 minutes of control time. Also, remember, Kai Kara-France landed a takedown in that fight, which is, it says something about what Amir Albazi's wrestling looks like, even if it surprised him, right? Like, even if it was shocking to him that he was shooting a takedown, like that tells you what we need to know about Albazi's takedown defense. And Moreno, I mean, like, we've seen what Moreno can do on the feet pace-wise, right? And granted, he did lose that rematch with Brandon Royval. I kind of think that was, sort of a hangover from all of the Davison-Figueiredo fights. But, like, as long as he is his best self, which I'm handicapping this as if it is the best version of Brandon Moreno out there, he shouldn't have any problem on the feet with Amir Albazi. And if Albazi starts getting stuffed on takedowns, especially in a 25-minute fight, I don't like his chances to have better late fight cardio than Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno's got great cardio for 25-minute fights. And I think he shrugs the takedowns off here. He's shown he's a good wrestler and grappler in his own right. I mean, like, he's submitting people back and forth all the time with his grappling. Why not take Brandon Moreno here? I like the bounce back spot for him. I think the number is nice and low too.
Yep, I'm taking him as well. Levels here. Gumby basically laid out a good path for him to win. But yeah, I think Moreno is going to win this fight as well. I'm not sold on Albazi. Obviously, I will be if he comes through in this big spot. All right, this recap, but don't you go away because we got more fancy picks for you after this. We both have Moreno. We both have Blanchfield. Both have Lewis. I have Machado. He has Ribeiro. Because Machado was Canadian. That's why he's against him, I think. I have Barriault. He has Stoltzfus. Definitely a Canadian bias there. And then he took Malott just to kind of throw us off the scent that he hates Canadians. We both have Malott there. All right, before we get the fancy plays, though, I'm teasing you with that. Rhythm, SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me. Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Rhythm went 24-3 in their props for NBA Night 1. Check out all the Al Horford props and claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're also brought to you. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. We're also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. U.S. players are always welcome. BetUS is live with Trick or Treat on Horror Street from now until today, I guess, Halloween. BetUS will be offering daily promotions and a raffle entry to win a sports or casino prize pack that they will give away on October 31st. You can enter multiple times, and every $200 deposit gets you one entry. So check out all the MMA, UFC lines there by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Promo code SGPN. So they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. SGPN. That's the code you need to know. All right, locks, dogs, props, Hungry Man Jong, parlay. I think it's my turn to go first with the lock. Gumby, you know my lock for me?
I mean, I said I think you might just match me here, which is the weird thing.
Oh, yeah?
Let's see.
Ayman Zahabi?
No, that's a surprise.
Oh, okay.
You can take Ayman Zahabi.
I like the line. Hey, -105. Let's roll the dice. I'm on a hot streak with my locks, so let's do it.
Yeah, we squeaked one out last week.
We sure did.
We're not Fakradin off as a hit, but it's barely a hit. I'm gonna go. I've been chilling in the low 200s and 250 kind of numbers, and I know sometimes that sounds a little hacky, but that's exactly what I'm gonna do again here. I'm gonna take Jasmine Jasudavicius. This is where I thought you were going. -215. She should win this fight pretty easily. Let's see the physicality from Jasudavicius.
Yeah. For my dog, I have lots to pick from. Maybe not in this episode, but yesterday's as well. But I'm going with the one from this episode, the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis, +150. We just
I was right. I was right about that one too. Yeah, I'm also Derrick Lewis. I thought we were gonna match across the board on all of these. Derrick Lewis. Yeah, Derrick Lewis is clearly the best dog on this card. I mean, Jhonata Diniz wild holes, and he's got 29 UFC fights. A guy who can exploit a guy with some weaknesses.
Yep. Let's see if we lock up on our prop bet. Cody Gibson via submission.
No, that's going to show up later though.
plus 480. I'm willing to roll the dice in a plus 480, 480 dog. If you want to know why, obviously go back to yesterday's episode. But yeah, I think Gumby's in on that play too. Well, apparently he is. He just.
I've got something dialed up for you later. It's a variation of the Hungry Man John, and that will appear in it. I'm going to go Mike Malott submission line instead. I mentioned Trevin Giles just sticks his head into guillotines for fun.
That's
it
true.
seems like. And if he does that against Mike Malott takes it home. 215 plus 215 on the submission line for Mike Malott.
All right, recap. Jiu-Jitsu Vicious is a hobby. All Canadian locks. Lewis is both their dogs. Malott via submission. Gibson via submission are the prop bets. Now, Hungry Man Jong Superfan Parlay. We're due to hit. Go ahead.
Tell me if I can do this, because I couldn't limit myself to 2 props here. I have big props and I want to share them with the people.
You got big props. You can we say 2 fight, but just because it has been 2 fights in the past, it can be as many as you want.
Well, so this is what I want to do here. I want to suggest that this week, and maybe this week only, going out of business sale here, it's the Hungry Man Jong Superfan Round Robin. Let's call it that for the week, just for 1 week. I don't know if it's gonna. I mean, if it does really well, then we'll bring it back. But like, for 1 week, I've got 5 props that are at giant odds, and I can't lay off of any of them. So here's what I got for you. There's 5 legs here. If any 2 of them hit in a round robin, you're going to win more than your money back. Just 2 out of 5 is all you need. 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, big money. 5 out of 5, we're talking about absurd kind of money, like real big, crazy money. So let me give you the ones that I like. You mentioned Cody Gibson by submission. That's literally the first one on my list. Cody Gibson by submission, 480. Ridiculous line. We're talking about a guy who's been submitted 6 times against a guy coming off of a arm triangle choke. Yeah. Like, what are we doing here at 480? That's an absurd line. The second one I like Zé Comelia's submission line too. We just talked about how, or that was yesterday's show. Yesterday's show, we talked about how Alexander Romanov just quits in fights. And as soon as it gets to the ground, he's like a dead fish on the ground, and you can do whatever you need to. Zé Comelia's got tons of submission finishes. Now, he doesn't have a lot in the UFC, but he does have a lot of submission finishes. Almost as good as the Gibson line, 475 on that one. Another one I like, I mentioned, I don't necessarily like Caio Machado in that fight. I like Brendson Ribeiro. You might not like this one. Ribeiro's got crazy knockout power. He showed it on Contender Series. His knockout line, 450. So we got 450, 480, 475, and then I'm going to get a little crazier. I like Stoltzfus' submission line too. Marc-André Barriault's been submitted before, and I think it can happen again here. Stoltzfus, 750 on the sub. And then last but not least, the last one I'm going to throw on the very Hungry Man Jong Superfan Round Robin. I'm going to take your lock, Ayman Zahabi, and I'm going to say he's the first man to finish Pedro Munoz. I think he knocks him out. I think he's going to go in there and throw one big right hand, and I think it's going to sleep Pedro Munoz. Finally, we saw Max Holloway get knocked out last week. Let's say that we see Pedro Munoz get knocked out this week. It's 10-1 that Ayman Zahabi knocks him out. So, again, Gibson sub 480, Comelia sub 475, Ribeiro KO 450, Stoltzfus sub 750, Zahabi KO 1,000. And if you play all of them in a round robin and all 5 happen to hit, it's going to pay you 1,200 to 1 on the round robin. Now, if you want to parlay them together, you're going to get even better money, right?
Yeah.
But if you round robin it all together, you're going to get 1,200 to 1 on that play. And then all you need is 2 to break even. And I think at least 2 of those hit. And 3 winds up being a gratuitous payday. So that's the first ever inaugural Hungry Man Jong Superfan Round Robin.
A starving Jong?
Starving. Very freaking hungry.
Exactly. So basically Jong all the time. All right. There you go. Gumby's got you set. And we've got you set for the UFC. We'll be back on Sunday. Yes, we're back doing Sunday episodes. We've got some more regional events planned for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then UFC's on. Yeah, it's on next week as well. Is it not? I don't think they have any days off anytime soon.
Yeah, yes. We got a UFC Vegas 100 headlined by one of my all-time faves, or new faves, Carlos Praches.
Not our Andre. Okay, Carlos Praches. Good. All right, we'll get that into your orifices next. Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. We shall be checking out all the comments on our YouTube channel, MMA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Gumby will be checking anything that's sent to the SGPN MMA account on Twitter. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. I run the Money MMA Substack. Now that we told you who's going to win all the fights this week and how they're going to win, enter my free pick'em contest there, and actually check out all my writing at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has hinted at he said one of the people on his podcast this week is Caio Machado, Top Turtle Podcast. Who's the other guest?
Mansour Abdul Malik, who will be fighting in his UFC debut next week.
So there you go. Check out Top Turtle. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Gumby, bid the people farewell.
All right, I'm Dana Gumby Freeland. He's the assassin baby, Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.